All right, moving on. The 111th Congress passed the over 1,000-page American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009. $787 billion economic stimulus package was designed to stimulate the economy through direct spending and tax cuts. Your comments on the success, failure of this package, as what might your purpose, or what might you propose, if elected, to keep our economy in the growth mode?
Who knows what would have happened had we not intervened in a collapse in the financial markets. Could be catastrophic. My father, my family's history in Arkansas goes back over 150 years in the 1st District, and my dad was the youngest in his family. My grandfather was about 50 when my dad was born, and they lived on a farm, and I remember very well. I feel like I have lived the Depression because I've heard the story so much from my father, who lived it on the farm, killing pigs, getting paid to do it. As a part of the supply production program, plowing up cotton because of the simplification or the problems of dealing with oversupply. Worried about food. My dad can make a dime cry. He can squeeze to this day. He's a wonderful person. I have a great relationship with him. I would not be here were it not for him. He's going to tell me that I can't talk to him. I look forward to continuing this discussion. Thank you.
I think Steve latched on to the fact that this is a really complex topic and it's difficult to get in a minute and a half. Let me say this. Like he began to say, I've talked with several people who work very deeply in the financial sector. Without some intervention, the capital markets globally would have frozen up and it would have been very, very, very bad. So, do I believe there had to be some intervention? Yes. Now, the question really, as it was posed, is really more about the stimulus, right? Now, on the stimulus end, I think, and again, thinking back to the Depression, I'm sure all of you have traveled around the state of Arkansas and you see the Civilian Conservation Corps and the Works Progress Administration buildings and their beautiful stone structures, and I love to see them. And they last. And it's a monument to the folks who worked their way out of the Great Depression. One of my beefs with the stimulus plan is that it's difficult for most Americans to experience the stimulus plan besides seeing a sign next to the road construction that said this is paid for by the ARRA. Now, I think that what we have to do if we're really going to stimulate the economy is we've got to build things that people can see, and we've got to invest in small businesses where jobs are created. Thanks.
The Recovery Act included some good things and some things that may not should have been in. It included largest middle class tax cut in history. That's a good thing. There was investment in infrastructure. The roads are being paved and built right here in Arkansas right now. That's a good thing. It's going to help the economy get growing. It's putting people to work. But there's some things in there that are still sitting there that haven't been spent. And I think what we need to do is we need to go back, scrub that bill, and there are things we can do to put back into the Treasury to help pay down some of the debt that we've run up. We can't escape the fact that we're over $12 trillion in debt. On the current projections, we'll be over $20 trillion in the coming years. We'll be paying over $700 billion a year in interest. That's money that goes out the door that we'll never see. We've got to get better with the county taxpayer dollar. There were some good investments that helped got some sectors of the economy going. I think that was a good thing. Thank you.
Keep trying to jump up first, I tell you, I get excited. But the stimulus money, I don't know if y'all know it, but right here at Mountain Home, your school system got several $1 million of stimulus money, which they use to do construction, maybe buy buses, or do renovations of some facilities right here in your community. That is money that's going to turn around and around and around right here in Mountain Home. So I think the stimulus money, of course here in Arkansas, we try not to tie it into any salaries or jobs where they can be reoccurring, so that when it's gone, you're tied up with those kind of things. We put it into one-time project here in the state, which are going to keep the economy going here in Arkansas. So I think it's a good thing. I even think we need another round. And what we need, that other round needs to be directed toward the infrastructure here in the state. I'm talking about the good fiber optic lines that carry high-speed stuff that will create more jobs and attract industry here to the state of Arkansas. And I'm talking about finishing and working on more road projects. 412, everybody knows we need it. Let's continue to work and put money in that'll stay here in the state of Arkansas and build our economy. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, how do you handle these kind of issues when it is your home budget? I think that we have to understand that while there are some great capital needs and capital investments that are needing to be made, we have to also understand that the national debt is to the point that it's almost at the point of the total domestic product of this nation. We have to send someone to Washington that can be bold and to be courageous with how we approach these things. It is time that we understand that there are some things that need to be done with regard to infrastructure. I'm a huge proponent of the next great infrastructure is not highways as much as the need for broadband, as we compete and understand that the quality of place is becoming an important issue when we are in this global economy, and that quality of place can be where there's broadband access, in addition to these other things. But how do we handle those kind of things at home if you borrow money against your house? When you take care of those capital type of issues, you don't incur ongoing debt. And that's exactly how we've done those things in Arkansas with the RSA, the Revenue Stabilization Act, which means simply, like we do at home, that we cannot spend more than we take in. The federal government has to get to that point that we understand that we can't spend more than we can take in, but yet these dollars that are driven down to the ground needs to be out there that are creating jobs and building that ultimate broadband and other infrastructure. Thank you.
This TARP deal, stimulus deal, it's all a little confusing to me. What is actually a recovery and what stimulus and what bailing out. I think sometimes they like to keep us baffled down in Washington so that the regular person doesn't understand it. But I heard one of the old doctors tell the young doctors saying, hey, if you borrow enough money from the bank, you're a debtor. If you borrow enough money from the bank, you're a partner. Well, I think the ticket, or the key for the government is don't insult the working man to take care of the fat cat. And if the average man working at a job, his factory closed down, he loses it, he ends up in Chapter 7 bankruptcy court, he's treated like a criminal. But you got a big bank, big Wall Street organization, big insurance company or something, and they'll get the government handle. That's all I got to say, is that just don't insult the average man that's out there working and paying taxes. And that's, I don't know anything else to say about that.